yeah, I cast Fireball for the first time this D&D last night. Yeah.
Why?
Well, there were goblins, so I fireballed
Did you do it into a... Yeah, but did you do it into a room of your comrades?
Well, no, that's my point. That's why I'm bringing it up. I didn't blow up my friends when I did it.
So you used Fireball responsibly.
Yeah. Unlike you.
Yeah, that's just a rookie mistake. Rookie mistake.
This is gonna be.
You need to you need to have your friends learn to fear you, and the best way to do that is through casting Fireball in a close proximity to where they are. And if they die,
it might have been more of an issue if either of our close range fighters had showed up to that session. So it was just like an archer and 3 spellcasters. Or actually an archer, a rogue, and 2 spellcasters. So our bard was the tank that session.
You've put absolutely no effort into the whatchamacallit this week.
Whatchamacallit? Oh, the name, yeah. I couldn't think of one.
The name, you just put it in.
I thought of maybe doing like in the name of Elvis Presley, but I just didn't get around to it.
Sure.
Yeah, I don't know. Anyway, welcome listeners. Welcome to Kyle and Cody's Called Cinema Cast. I'm Kyle.
I'm Cody.
Yeah. This week, In the Name of the King, a dungeon siege tale. It says tale, right? Yeah, a dungeon siege tale. Dungeon Siege was a video game from the early 2000s. It's like an 8-man dungeon crawler thing. This has very little to do with any of that. I don't even think the main character is the same at all, but it's a 2007 Uwe Boll film starring Jason Statham, Ron Perlman, Lily Sobieski, John Rhys Davies, Ray Liotta, and Burt Reynolds. So we got some good actors in there.
I feel like so we should probably talk about that right now. First of all, have you played Dungeon Siege?
No.
Do you think it was popular enough to warrant a movie?
I don't know, but Uwe Boll, he likes to like scoop up video game movie rights and makes movies out of them. He also did movies for Blood Rain, Alone in the Dark, Postal. What else did he do? I feel like there's more. Just bring up Uwe Boll's filmography. But yeah, that's a thing he does. He's also, let's see, House of the Dead he did. That was the first one he did to get this trend going. Far Cry, he did the Far Cry movie. Yeah, those are his movies that he's made based on video games. He's also famously really bad. He's kind of the reason he's probably a third of the reason why video game movies are considered to be bad. Because like he made like 4 of the big examples.
That trend started long before this happened. Like Mortal Kombat. Did he make Mortal Kombat?
No. He was around in the 90s, but he started doing video game movies in like 2003 was House of the Dead.
Mm-hmm. And after this movie, he announced that he would be his first and last movie with a large budget. Because he had what, $60 million?
Yeah, this was his largest budget to date.
I feel like it was like Jason Statham's kind of a big ask. This is 2007 Ron Perlman, so he's coming off of
was Hellboy before or after this?
I guess this is before Sons of Anarchy, but after Hellboy.
Okay.
So 2007 he made Hellboy in 2004, and then 2007 or 2008 he started on Hellboy 2, and then in 2008 he is also working on season 1 of Sons of Anarchy.
Okay. Yeah, Ron Perlman's a good actor. I like him. He does good stuff. And yeah, Jason Statham's in the leading role. He plays a character called Farmer. Essentially, yeah, he was a guy that was like an orphan brought to this farming village, and he decided that was his name because that's what he did. That's why they call him Farmer. This as for like Uwe Boll films, I think this might. I haven't seen a lot of them, but I think could easily be the best Uwe Boll film, in my opinion, anyway. But despite the fact this was nominated for 5 Razzies,
Mm-hmm.
and not particularly in a good order, I don't think.
What I'm saying is, ironically enough, some of these, like, I don't know if Kyle looked into this before preemptively choosing this film, but like, surprisingly, there's been a number of films that we've done after we did the whole Razzie Awards series that have kind of just hit that mark, weirdly enough.
Yeah, this could have gone in that season 1 sub theme of the best movies to win a Razzie, but this didn't win Worst Picture, so I think that's why I looked over it. Also, like, the only Razzie this wins, or Uwe Boll gets Worst Director. He also gets a Worst Career Achievement this year, but one of the reasons I'm kind of I probably would have been soft on putting this onto the sub theme of season 1 is because he got Uwe Boll got Worst Director for this and 2 other movies. This is also the same year he directed Postal and 1968 Tunnel Rats, which yeah, Postal's a video game movie. I think it's based off pretty sure it's based off the game Postal. And then 1968 Tunnel Rats is a movie about in Vietnam, there was the Viet Cong would have underground tunnels, which they would use for their guerrilla warfare, and certain soldiers would get chosen to go into those tunnels and do army stuff in there, and they called those guys tunnel rats. There's a GI Joe whose name is Tunnel Rat, and that's where that name comes from. So he made a Vietnam movie. A somewhat serious Vietnam movie, evidently. And this guy's also directed like 2 Holocaust movies too, so he's a little weird, and he's not very good, so I don't imagine those are very good. It was also nominated for Worst Screenplay. Doug Taylor wrote the screenplay. And here's another thing, like Uwe Boll gets nominated for Worst On-Screen Couple. Uwe Boll, the couple being Uwe Boll and any actor, camera, or screenplay. I think he got a lot of these because he had like a bunch of movies out that year. He got a Worst Supporting Actor nod because he appeared as himself in Postal. And Burt Reynolds got a Worst Supporting Actor nomination for this and the movie Deal, which I don't know what that movie is. Though here's my question about that. What's the guy's name? Why doesn't Ray Liotta get the Worst Actor nod in this? Worst Supporting Actor nom? Because he's clearly the worst actor in this film. I don't get how, like, oh yeah, Burt Reynolds is the worst actor in this film, sure. Compared to Ray Liotta?
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, I didn't care for him.
Yeah, Ray Liotta plays the
Now
villain
that I'm looking
in
at
this, and he's really bad. He's not. He's trying to be like an epic fantasy villain, but he doesn't really pull it off.
So we've done Rocky 4.
Yeah.
This is the sequel because apparently this movie spawned a trilogy.
2 sequels.
2 sequels, and the next one plays Dolph Lundgren as the main character.
The next two are apparently very much worse.
Yeah. So we've kind of.
Yeah, this is the best one. The other 2 are apparently like isekais. Did you know that?
Means.
It's it's a new anime word for like an old genre of like people going into like a fantasy world to do like fantasy stuff, but they're from the real world. Isekai is probably not the best. It's become the big term because it's a simple word to say, because it's a simple 1-word description of the genre. By that definition, like The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe is an isekai. Yeah, it's an old genre. But yeah, those are about like guys from the real world going into this fantasy world.
Okay, so just to capitalize on this, what I'm talking about, the third movie has uh Dominic Purcell, who is probably best known for Flash. I think he played Heatwave in The Flash and Legends of Tomorrow. And then the three other actors seen in the third movie are completely unlisted on Wikipedia.
Yeah. So Uwe Boll has a bit of a like a scam going in this. Not in this, but like kind of in general. He takes advantage of like tax loopholes to like if he loses money on a film, he actually makes money. Like it's pretty sketchy.
What in the fuck? Okay, so he said he's done with any form of large budgets, but he just had the third movie had a $3.5 million budget.
What's that?
I
Sorry.
said he Uwe Boll. I don't know how to
Uwe
fucking.
Boll.
Yep, Uwe Boll
Yep.
said that there's a W in there. That's not a wait.
Yeah, but he's German, so you pronounce it like a V.
Oh,
Yeah,
why?
because that's how Germans pronounce the W.
Sure. Anyways, what I was saying, Uwe Boll had said he was done with large scale budgets. But still, like this movie had a $3.5 million budget. The third movie.
Yeah, I don't know. He's just he's kind of sketchy. Like I'll just look over his finance thing. Yeah, his films like mostly underperform. This one only made 13 million off a $60 million budget, which would be death for most other directors. But yeah, he is. Here's a quote from him from like a DVD commentary. Maybe you know it's not easy to finance movies in total. And the reason I am able to do these kind of movies is I have a tax shelter fund in Germany. If you invest in a movie in Germany, you basically get 50% back from the government. Yeah, and that's how he was able to do stuff. That loophole was closed in 1960, but he's found ways around that. Yeah, so he essentially gets like some of his money back anytime he made a movie for a while. So this might have been In the Name of the King actually probably would have been like one of the last movies he would have been able to finance with that tax law.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Alone in the Dark's a 2005 film, so he's gotten quite a bit of flack for that. But yeah, this would have been the last of those things. But he's still kept around. He's actually made on other stuff. People really don't like Uwe Boll. I think a lot of it's because of his making bad movies out of video games, which I think is part of it. He's just pissed off because God forbid you piss off the gamers. TM, not all gamers. I'm saying that in like the type. They get angry at nothing. So it's one of those. But Uwe Boll, I think this is one of his better movies, almost certainly. It's not which is surprising because I don't mind this, but it's not like one of his better reviewed movies. It's kind of in the middle. It doesn't break 40% on Rotten Tomatoes, I don't think at all. So that's a bit weird to me, honestly. I think it's a bit underrated. I'm not trying to re redeem Uwe Boll's career here. This is like maybe one of his better shitty movies because this isn't very good. The acting's pretty well all flat. The story only barely makes any sense, so it's not anything special. Anything
Huh.
else we gotta bring up?
Yeah, no, but this is a weird side note here. Brendan Fraser was just recast in a brand new movie by Martin Scorsese,
Oh yeah, I heard about that.
marking his return to Hollywood, essentially.
Hmm,
Maybe,
interesting.
depending on how it turns out. Well, I mean, like, okay, so Brendan Fraser played in a movie with, who was it? Clint Eastwood, and that was a bomb. So I just don't know how it's gonna hold
Yeah,
up. So
Eventually, we're gonna have to do like a series where like where we just do a thing where like you get mad at me for not where we just like do little 10-minute talks about a movie series where you just get mad at me for not having watched any of the movies you reference because I haven't seen any of the mummies all the way. I think I saw like 20 minutes of the first one.
How do you not watch the mummies though?
I've been meaning to. I was going to watch it with some guys,
Okay, have
but
you watched the Scorpion King?
no, I haven't.
Then why are we even what? Why
This is
are
what I'm
we
saying. We're
even
gonna have to
here?
do like a thing where like you just make me. We just pick days and you just make me binge watch movies and like we just do like 20 minutes on each of
Like
them. It's just
those
like
are
Kyle's never seen the whatever
like
series.
yeah, but they're like like quintessential like early 1990s to 2000 movies.
Oh yeah. No, like I'm saying this is we can profit off
Okay,
this. We have like a couple of
so
these. Like we could do
did
Jurassic Park or
Esteban?
whatever. And
You haven't seen Jurassic Park,
no, I haven't seen. I've only seen like the new ones.
original or sequels?
I've only seen like the worlds, Jurassic Worlds,
What about Gremlins?
Gremlins. No.
In all fairness, I've never seen any of the Chucky films.
Uh,
None of the Scream movies.
have you done the Fast and the Furious movies?
No.
Yeah, okay. So I've seen all of those.
And you haven't watched The Mummy though.
No, I haven't gotten around to it. I mean to.
Okay, so if you're gonna watch The Mummy, you should watch 1 and 2.
Yep.
Skip the third.
Okay.
Don't do the Tom Cruise reboot because that's
Oh, I've
completely
seen that.
worthless. Why?
I, me and some friends kind of wanted to see it.
Yeah, but that's not the point. You can't just watch movies that only your friends want to watch, Kyle.
To
You
be
need
to
to
be
like
fair,
take time out for
the
for
Tom Cruise Mummy
yourself and
movie
just
has
watch
nothing to
movies.
do with the Brandon Fraser ones. It's a totally different thing.
Yes, but it was supposed to be a reboot.
Yeah, but like there are mummy movies before
That
Brendan Fraser, you know.
yes, but what I'm saying is the Mummy reboot didn't capture the same feeling as like the Brendan Fraser
Well, no, I don't think it was
Mummy
supposed to.
movies.
Like, I'm not saying the movie was good. The movie was obviously bad.
Okay,
Like the only
we
reason like
can
you'd
agree on that.
yeah, the only reason you'd put up with it is if like it was supposed to be part of the Dark Universe thing. And like the only reason you'd ever put up with it is if the next thing in the Dark Universe came out the next week. Because like that is not like
What
that is
is
like it could potentially warrant.
the Dark Universe is just basically
Oh yeah, it's dead. I'm
it,
pretty sure.
okay, so it's not.
No, it's gone.
I thought they were trying to reboot it. Yeah.
No, they were gonna have Bride of Frankenstein be the next one, but I don't think it ever happened.
Ew.
Yeah, but
Wait,
no,
what?
what's that?
Okay, so they did a Frankenstein movie that had Daniel Radcliffe in it.
Yeah, that's different though.
Okay, I'm just trying to figure out like
That's an all
why
right
would you
movie.
start on the Bride of Frankenstein?
Yeah, yeah, no, it's just the way they wanted to do it. I think they wanted to get like a female star in there.
Oh,
Yeah, but no, the Daniel Radcliffe Frankenstein movie, Victor Frankenstein's actually all right. Ending's nothing is kind of shit, but it's an all right movie. Just didn't it wasn't able to cash a check at the end of the day. But no, like if you were gonna like see the like you might have given the Dark Universe more of a chance if like it you didn't have to wait like 2 years or whatever for the next one, which was the thing. Like it went yeah.
well, I mean that's the same with every movie. What I'm saying is it just doesn't hold enough interest for me to be like, oh, I can't wait to see the Bride of Frankenstein after watching a fucking Tom Cruise movie.
But yeah, we'll have to do that binge watch thing where we just talk about series we've never seen all the way through.
Like even like I can't say for certain because I don't think I've ever sat down to watch the third Scorpion King movie, but from the looks of things, it's not gonna be as horrible as I thought it would be, because it has David Bautista in it. It's got Billy Zane. I don't know who that is. And like Ron Perlman's back in it. So
I feel like Billy
and
Zane
Kimbo
is a
Slice.
character we'll meet on the podcast eventually.
Kimbo Slice though.
What's that?
Kimbo Slice.
Kimbo Slice?
Yeah, Kimbo Slice. He was an ex MMA fist fighter who
Ah.
literally started doing just like street fights, and then somebody was like, "Hey, you should just do this professionally," and so he did. So he had and he's dead.
Oh.
Oh wow. Okay, that got really dark really fast. Yeah, he passed away in 2016. Huh.
No, yeah, I think we get into the movie.
Sure.
All right. Yeah, so we open our film In the Name of the King. 2007's In the Name of the King, not the 1924 German silent film from which I'm guessing Uwe Boll got the name. So I couldn't find like a description of the movie. So anyway, the movie opens to Ray Liotta making out with what's her name? Kristana Loken. No, wait. Lily Sobieski playing Muriella. And as they're making out, Ray Liotta's character, Galleon, is clearly siphoning magic power from her. Pulling what I kind of like this kind of joke in less skeezy contexts where okay, so the less skeezy version of this is like in the first episode of Smallville where Lana Lang has the kryptonite necklace and it makes Clark Kent go all weak in the knees when he's around her, so he thinks he's in love. Ray Liotta is Galleon is doing something similar to Muriella, but obviously for evil and intentionally, unlike Lana Lang was. As far as I know, I never saw any more of the series after episode 1, but I don't think Lana Lang was using kryptonite to manipulate Clark Kent into falling in love with her. So
No.
I assume. I don't know for sure.
So I actually read up on this recently because it was a weird Wikipedia run I did for absolutely no reason. Lana Lang's parents were killed by the meteor that Clark Kent was born in.
Not
so
in
she
most
took a piece of the meteor.
Like in Smallville? I don't think that's the case in most continuities.
Most comics. In what?
I don't think that's the case in most continuities.
Lana Lang?
Yeah, like her parents getting killed
Lana
by
Lang?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's in all continuities.
I've never seen that.
If you're thinking...
No, Lana Lang is who I'm thinking of, because Lana Lang is the one from Smallville. No, I've never heard that storyline, weirdly enough. I don't really read Superboy comics at all, but... Like, I mean Silver Age Superboy, I don't mean the cool ones. Or the cool one, let's be honest. No, I don't remember that at all.
Huh.
Yeah, I've never seen that explored. Mostly because they forget about her as soon as we get out of Smallville in the comics. So
maybe it was just the Smallville version of it.
I think it could be. Yeah, I've never seen it in the comics. I think I would have read that somewhere. Anyway, yeah, Galleon is stealing power from Muriella and that's making her think she's in love with him because she feels weak around him, I guess. Which is how love works? Question mark? I don't think that's how it works. Can't say I've been, but
yeah.
I do think this trope is funny in less skeezy context, though. So it's why I quit watching Smallville. I'm like, okay, the show can't get more clever than this.
I think it has a lot more to do with Ray Liotta's character more than anything.
Yeah.
And I mean, there's like 30 years age gap between the two actors.
Yeah. yeah, and in universe, even if like we assume he's playing someone younger, I don't think he's playing someone that much younger. Like I don't see him as
Hmm.
like 40 at least.
Yeah.
So there's a good 15-year time skip there. But yeah, that's happening, and that's a thing. He's all spooky. After this scene, we cut over to see Jason Statham farming with a boy who is his son, played Colin Ford, playing Zeph. He uses a boomerang to scare off a crow. Okay. Ron Perlman's character
Yeah, I
Norik.
don't know. I don't know what they were going for, like aesthetically here, because like Jason Statham's character primarily uses a machete in this, correct?
I think it's more of a falchion.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. A falchion or
I've
I'm
always
drawing
considered it a
blanks on what they're
falchion.
called. A boa knife, is that correct?
A Bowie knife. No, Bowie knife is way smaller. It's closer to
No,
his
no, no, no,
hello.
no, no. Boa, not Bowie.
I know
Um,
the Dow. I don't know about. Dow's sort of similar to this, I guess. I've always just considered it a falchion. I've seen this movie 3, 4 times, I think. So
uh, Kukuri is the name of the
Coker.
knife that I'm thinking of.
No, that's more of like that's actually more similar to the boomerang, honestly.
Yeah, but like that's totally the aesthetic they're going for.
But yeah, I guess he's a boomerang and sword fighter. He's not as cool as the hero from Dragon Quest VIII. That was a thing you could do in Dragon Quest VIII. You could have a sword and a boomerang. Not at the same time though. Those were your.
Just so he's literally like a bow and arrow. No, because no, I saw Norik have a bow and arrow. I was gonna say he's literally like a bow and arrow up from being Link from Legend of Zelda, but
Oh yeah. Link has a bow. Link has a boomerang, doesn't he?
yes,
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Yeah. He is a
but he
boomerang.
also has a shield.
Yeah. No, he never. Farmer never picks up any heavier weapons, does he? Or any armor at all. Even when it would
But that's
in
because he's a
theory makes
farmer.
sense. Yeah, but like later on in the movie, it would make sense for him to get some fancy stuff, wouldn't it? I guess, but I guess whatever. I don't think he's into it. Ron Perlman's character Norik comes by to trade a pig for some vegetables. Norik is talking about maybe joining the army, which is weird because he seems kind of old for this. No offense, Ron Perlman.
Like, yeah, but Ron Perlman was old before like I've ever seen him young.
Yeah, I wonder what's Ron Perlman's earliest movie. Yeah, but yeah, he's become popular as like an older actor. His first movie is 1981's A Quest for Fire. Yeah, so he's been around a while. He was in the Prince Valiant movie. Anyway, yeah, he's talking about that. Farmer's just like, nah, I don't want to. I have everything here. Then he stays for supper.
Probably be more into this. Sorry, he's coming in for the new Rise of the Beast Transformer movies.
Uh, I will they be good? I never know. Bumblebee was apparently okay, but I have no interest.
Well, I think he's coming in as Optimus Prime because he voiced off Optimus Prime in
Or is it?
Power of the Primes.
Is he? Is he going? Is this a Beast Machines movie, like a Beast Wars movie?
Rise of the Beast is an upcoming American science fiction film, based on the Transformers toy line and primarily influenced by Beast Wars
Okay, so he might be
storyline.
playing Optimus Primal. I
Okay,
can see
what's the
that.
difference? And if
Optimus
you tell me he
Primal
can
is a
turn into
monkey.
a fucking ape, I'm gonna be very upset. Okay,
Yeah,
fuck off.
he's a gorilla.
Okay, I mean that's not something to be happy about. Like he did the bare minimum
I mean, that's a
there.
good fucking show, though. Beast Wars is a good fucking show.
Y- sure.
It is. It's like pretty awesome and violent and made by Canadians. So therefore, it's the best Transformers. Yeah. Anyway, Yeah, they have
And yes,
supper.
he is playing Optimus Primal.
Yep, cool. That could be cool. So yeah, they have supper with Farmer's family, his wife, and his kid. The wife's name is Solana. They have supper. The next day, Seth and Solana go into town to sell their crop. And after they sell the crop, they go meet with Solana's parents. During this time, we get Farmer's backstory is that Norik had brought him to town when he was a toddler, and Farmer was kind of raised by the village, and eventually took the name Farmer because he didn't have a name or whatever. So
Or whatever.
it's a weird backstory. He's just really
Yeah.
into farming. Yeah, that's just his thing.
Mhm.
We get news about Thrug attacks. Thrugs are this world's orc equivalent. They're described as just beasts. They're probably chimpanzee level, I think, is my impression. It's mentioned that they don't really have tools, so it's weird when we see them running around with weapons later. That's an interesting thing. Farmer eventually sees some of the Thrug wandering through the woods, and he fights a bunch of them, and he saves Norig, or Norik or Norik, Norik. He saves Norik from his burning barn, doing a really impractical fight scene where they fight off the Krug. They run to town to warn Stonebridge. They arrive too late. Solana takes it upon herself to ring the town's alarm bell, leaving leaving Zeph with his grandparents, and her brother Balian. We get a glimpse of the Galleon's the special foot soldiers, which are basically human familiars. I'm gonna call them. They're just like shadow creatures that Galleon just kind of possesses and puppets around. And yeah, that's his thing. Eventually, some of the Krug go to a Krug along with one of Galleon's familiars goes up to the grandparents' house and starts killing he kills the grandparents, chases Balian away, and also Zeph runs off as Farmer goes to try to save them. Galleon sends one of his familiars after Zeph for whatever reason and kills Zeph. So Farmer's son is dead pretty early into the movie. After,
Yeah,
yep,
I mean, I can't really blame them. I don't know, like, this whole intro just seems really campy and, like, super forced, and they're like yeah, I think they're like, "Oh, we're gonna go hang out with your mother or your grandmother," and the mother or grandmother comes out and's like, "Careful, or I'll have to put you into my witch's oven," or something stupid just fuck along those lines. And, like, I just didn't really feel for,
it's very tropey.
mhm.
Which I don't know. It's not going to get this movie any awards, except the bad ones apparently. And like the Krug don't exactly have a great reason to attack this town either. They're kidnapping some people for some reason. It's never
Also,
quite
I'd
explained.
like to go back to the fact that Ron Perlman brings over a pig and it's like, "Hey, I need some vegetables."
And they say that's a yearly thing though. They trade the pig for
Yeah,
some vegetables.
yeah, but what's the equivalent exchange rate for one pig to like how many vegetables can you buy with one pig is what I'm trying to ask.
Ooh, hmm. That
That's all I'm saying is I feel like Ron Perlman doesn't know how to barter at all.
yeah, it isn't. It's a weird thing. I don't know if they kept the pig to be slaughtered or anything. Yeah, I don't know. But I also don't. Yeah, I don't really get what the Krug are doing. They're just attacking people. They capture some of them. They don't use the prisoners for anything. My impression was kind of that they were using the prisoners to make the weapons for the Krug, because it's stated
Mhm.
that like Krugs don't know how to make any of that stuff, and the weapons do look sort of shitty. So I don't know. It's
Yeah, but
possible.
what I'm gonna ask you is like, do the random peasants and villagers that they kidnapped know how to make weapons?
Yeah, I don't know.
Like theoretically, you'd be trying to like find a blacksmith, and there doesn't seem to be
There
any
is some
need for that.
potential that
Like,
they'd maybe have some basic blacksmithing skills, but I still don't know.
yeah, but why wouldn't they just slaughter all the villagers and take their weapons by that logic?
I mean, you'd only have a few weapons, but still, because apparently Norik
But
and
there's not.
I guess I mean I think there's some sort of militia system going on in this town, because Farmer and Norik and Valiant seem sort of well equipped to do malicious stuff. So,
My point being here, also, does it ever explain why Jason Statham's the way he is in this movie?
how do you mean?
Well, like, he's like specifically a badass in this movie, and they're just like, oh no, he's just a farmer.
Yeah, no, I was just assuming he was like trained as like as like town militia, which is
Well,
possible.
like everything else in the like the sequels or the prequels sequels um have stated that, these are ex-professional trained like army people going back in time and fighting like,
Yeah, yeah, I don't really like. Certainly,
and I think
like
that.
there's not much to explain him being this good at fighting.
Mhm.
So yeah, after they chase the Krugs start to leave, they bury the grandparents and Zeph. They note that Solana was is missing, so they just assume she's been captured.
Are we not going to talk about that? What?
What talk about which?
So they hold a funeral for the grandparents, and they're like, "Oh yeah, and also the daughter's missing."
Yeah, they don't tell him immediately. They just
What? Like, why?
yeah, he Farmer just kind of assumes that his wife's dead already, which I mean, not the worst assumption you'd ever make, but it's
Yeah, but like honestly, the only reason why that these people actually takes prisoners is just to drive the plot forward. Essentially, is what you're telling me.
yeah, true. That's definitely a valid
Okay.
like criticism. Like that's definitely I'd have a hard time saying that's not a valid excuse, a valid criticism.
What I'm saying is, if you're gonna do that, why not like just cut out the middleman?
Hmm.
Like you've already killed off a kid. Why not just kill the wife and the kid?
Yeah, no, it doesn't make much sense
And
when you think
Jason
about it.
Statham's like hell bent on revenge instead of like, oh, Jason Statham has to go save his uh wife from Krugs, I guess. I don't know. But I mean, with that being said, like the Uwe Boll apparently needs all the help he can get. So I mean, if he wants my unsolicited advice on how to write a semi decent fantasy based screenplay, there it goes.
Yeah, during intercut with some of these scenes, we've been introduced to the king, played by by Burt Reynolds, and the prince Furl Farrell Duke Fallow, who's the king's nephew, who's played by Shaggy from Scooby Doo, like the live action Scooby Doo. Yeah, so that's a thing. Fallow is a shitty bad king who just wants the power and whatnot. He's pretty standard usurper, selfish usurper king. And he is working with Galleon to eventually get rid of him. And we're also introduced, like, briefly to Merrick. Yeah, Merrick, right? That's who I'm thinking of. The wizard.
Like the bad wizard or the good
The
wizard?
good wizard. Yeah, it's John
Merrick's
Weiss
the good
Davies.
wizard, yeah.
Yeah, Merrick's the good wizard. I forgot his name. Yeah, we're also introduced to Merrick, who's the who's like a wizard who works for the king. Wizards work in this world by being loyal to the king. That's a thing that's interesting, I guess. They could do stuff with that if they wanted to. Muriella is his daughter, so that's a thing. So we're introduced to those characters. The king, Conread, he has gone out to go check on these Krug attacks that have been happening. He goes to recruit the people at the village to join his army. Farmer refuses. Bold move for a Middle Ages peasant. He could be killed for this pretty easily. His argument is essentially the king wasn't there to protect them, which I guess could be sort of valid. He's angry, if nothing else, so it makes sense that he's saying this. So yeah, he refuses conscription because he's going to go try to save Solana. Balian, his brother-in-law, and Norik join him on this quest. On their way out, Norik bumps into Merrick, and they recognize each other, causing Merrick to go check on Farmer. He says that his king needs him. Farmer blows him off, so that's going on there. The king goes back to his castle to find his nephew kissing some woman on the king's throne, and he backs off and goes to Galleon to complain about how he wants the king dead already so he can take the throne. He is the heir to the throne because King Conread has no heirs or queen for some weird reason, I guess. This is how
He
kingdoms
has a
fall.
daughter though.
No, that's Merrick's daughter.
Oh, that's really creepy.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, no, that makes way more sense.
Yeah, so yeah, and this is just terrible kinging because that's just how your kingdom falls, is not having any sort of heir, and he's just doing it for unexplained reasons.
Yeah, but I feel like the out of his control at that point in time. Yeah, but like I don't know how well fertility lasted in the Middle Ages.
Well, I don't think men can go like infertile for age.
Can they not?
I don't think men like stop becoming fertile as they get older.
Huh. Well, that's a thing apparently. I did not know. But that's really good to know.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, I just always assumed that after a while it's just like yeah, okay, that's on him at this point in time.
Yeah, no. No, that was a plot
I mean,
point
Burt
in
Reynolds,
Yeah, it is Burt Reynolds. He could have anyone he wanted.
not even the fact of that he's a king. Like, what? Is there no other kingdoms? Like, what is the like? That's not only how you have like a continent fall. That's how you have like political allies are all made through marriages. Is there no
Yeah,
political allies within
another
the
duke.
city of Eb or the?
Like, there's not just one duke, is there?
Okay, yeah. So
Just have another duke daughter. Like, this is the Middle Ages. You're not like.
But what I'm saying here is like, who's the brother then? Because Matthew Lillard's character is a nephew, right?
Yeah, I assume Fallow's father is dead because otherwise he wouldn't be duke. Because
Okay.
Fallow is titled as a duke, so he is. I'm assuming the father is dead or retired, likely dead.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, but yeah, no, there's I would find it hard to believe there isn't a way around this. At very least,
Also, who has the better claim at that point, though?
well, Duke Fallow apparently does. I'm just taking the movie's word for it that that's how the line of succession works in this.
Yeah, but like, we'll get back to this later because I don't want to reveal any spoilers super early into the plot here.
But yeah, so that's a thing. The three go after the prisoners. They have to ditch their horses at a broken rope bridge, which Farmer crosses by like swinging, like zip lining down the rope handle and making it to the other side. The other two idiots end up falling into the river. So yeah, that delays them because they didn't want to like go around the ravine. I suppose this was still faster, but it's weird. They make their way into a forest where they meet up with these Amazon Tarzan women, and they're just guided through the forest by these Amazons just to move the plot along and introduce them into the story.
Mm-hmm.
So in the meantime, Fallow and King Conread are having lunch, and he gets poisoned. They both get poisoned because Galleon poisoned Conread's meal at Fallow's behest because he was getting impatient. Yeah, Galleon cures Fallow, but the king almost dies. He ends up getting saved by Merrick, but with no lasting consequences, actually, which is interesting. While the king is indisposed with his sickness, Fallow takes control of 2 legions of the army and runs off with them because he figures that the poison's going to kill Conread. Yeah, he figures that he'll use that in order to be able to secure his reign a little better. Meanwhile, the farmer Balian and or Bastion and Norik stealth up to the Krug camp and find the cage with Solana in it while getting captured. One of Galleon's familiars takes Farmer off to the side and attempts to hang him because apparently he can't read Farmer for some reason, which is apparently a thing he was doing to people, which I didn't notice. It's maybe implied to be why they were chasing after the kid, but I don't know. But remarkably, Farmer manages to get a hold of the familiar and kill it while still hanging, and he falls off and lives, and Merrick retrieves him. So that's interesting. It's at this point in the movie that Muriella has realized that she was manipulated by Galleon somehow, and she decides she's going to armor up and go kill Galleon because she was she was having her little thing with Galleon. He was able to get enough power to challenge Merrick because you can't have magic powers in this if you're not loyal to the king. So he had stolen some power from her, and yada yada yada.
Mm-hmm. Which is a dumb way to set up your magical power system within a universe.
I've always kind of I don't know, it's a dumb way of doing it. Hey, by the way, you didn't watch the 150-minute cut of this, did you?
I found a version on YouTube.
Okay, because there's apparently 2 cuts of this.
Apparently, I watched. Which one's the big one?
156 minutes
Is the top one
on YouTube.
When the fuck did I watch that?
Well, the regular
something that was 2 hours and 42 minutes.
The regular one was the regular length is 127 minutes, which is what I watched because I have the DVD. Oh yeah, there's apparently a 156-minute long version on there. It's just like free.
Okay, but how did I watch it 2 hours? 2 hours and 34 minutes.
Like I'm looking at one just like I typed in the name of the king on YouTube, and I'm seeing one by Aflam YouTube, which is 156 minutes.
Yeah, but there's one right below that by Albert Tatek, and it's 2 hours and 42 minutes.
That's something else. I don't know. Yeah, I see that now.
And like
18K views. I don't know how that.
And like
I don't know.
And it starts the same and it ends the same. Like unless there's like a weird like time crunch difference where they're like where they might have slowed some shit down or something, but
yeah,
like
I'm just gonna click on it real quick.
It didn't look bad. Because I was sitting there thinking to myself, I'm like, man, this movie's fucking drawing on for like way too long.
No, the DVD version's like 2 hours.
Yeah, but that doesn't make up for the extra 42 minutes of a movie.
Yeah, no, and I'm not seeing information on that cut. I have no idea what you watched.
Okay.
Yeah, did you watch a whole 2 hour, like almost 3 hour long movie?
No,
No, okay, so you
which
watch.
is really quite happily. I I skimmed through, like, because I've watched this movie before, so I re-skimmed through it and then just did a recap of the summary just to make sure that I fully understood majority of it.
But yeah, there is a like 156-minute cut that's on one of the Blu-rays or the Blu-ray release. But yeah, anyway, I just wanted to check in on that. I'm curious. That's weird. I don't know what he would cut that in with. I don't know. So Merrick takes Farmer to meet the king and reveals that Farmer is actually the king's son. Apparently, during some big massacre when like 20 plus years ago, 25 years ago or something, the king's son went missing. Apparently Norick, who was working in for the king for the queen's stables at the time, took the kid away and just assumed he was just like some abandoned orphan and took him back to the village, I guess. So yeah, apparently this is
What?
yeah, no, so there was a big there was a big military massacre like 25 years ago, and apparently the king's son went missing, and eventually was apparently picked up by Norick, who was working in the queen's stables at the time, and he took him back to Stone Ridge in order to because he figured he had been abandoned or whatever, like just a 3-year
Okay,
old
that's
farmer.
completely dumb.
Yeah, no, it's a weird little thing, but yeah, they're pretty sure that that's who Farmer is, because what other 3-year-old was there at this big massacre? Yeah, I know it's a thing.
Okay, but like nobody went looking for this kid at all.
Um,
Like
my
nobody was
okay,
like, "Oh, well, we should probably check the villages in case
my
there's somebody like."
impression is that like it was a massacre, so like there
Don't
was
try
way
to
too much
justify this
chaos.
child.
Like there was way too much chaos apparently, and they just figured he was dead
Oh,
because
nope.
everyone was apparently dead.
You,
It was a
you
bad time
you're
apparently.
giving
I'm just
you're
restating what
giving
the
him
movie
too
said.
much credit.
I'm just restating
Just
what they
too
said in the
much credit.
movie.
This is the giantest plot hole I've ever seen
I
in a movie.
like I don't think it's I think it kind of makes sense, but it's weird
Like
still.
maybe
Granted, the idea that Norick
yes,
would
but
just
with that being
catch the kid. That's the weirdest part, is that Norick just kept this kid he found after a random after this massacre. And like, wonder if I should just ask
he's a
around who's this
lonely
kid's belong to.
old man. Anyways, what I'm trying to say though is like John Rice's character, John Rice Davies' character, eventually claims this guy as the king. What I'm saying though is, how do you prove that?
I don't think you do. Let's be honest.
Like,
Um, there
okay.
is a version of
So
this that's just
you're
like,
well.
there's a version of this where they're just like, hey, Fallow's about to become king. Well, here's actually the king's long lost son who we just found. Oh boy, I guess we can't have this crazy murdering drunk as our king. Oh well, I guess these
I mean,
we're out of options. We have no other
that's the
choice. It's out of my hand.
point that I'm trying to make is rather like justifiably, if I was Burt Reynolds' character here and I had just been poisoned by my nephew who wants the throne away from me, fucking all bets are off. I'd just be like, oh yeah, my son, or like, why can't a king just name their own heirs, first of all? Why does it have to be a
Okay,
succession of bloodlines?
so this is actually weirdly interesting, but it depends on where you're from, because they don't. The
Okay.
thing that would happen, okay, the thing that would happen, right, is the king would die and not have chosen an heir.
Hmm.
Like that was a frequent problem, which is why people kind of went away from that, even though you could almost have it just be like a backup plan, but still that was a frequent problem. Like way back in the day, they never used to have like firstborn become the king. It wasn't how that worked as often, but it was a way of doing it as a way of securing like stability, because it was assumed that every king would get married and have a kid, a son at some point. If not eventually just a kid, but like it's not that tall a order in theory, because most people get married and have kids, even if you're like, okay, we just have to make sure there's a son. At least you always have someone there who can ascend to the throne. So that's why they do it through bloodline rather than being chosen.
Okay, but even at that point in time, like, I guess arguably there would be a. So my thought process, I must have skipped over this scene. I just assumed that he was a bastard.
Yeah, no, I
But like even a bastard at that point in time would arguably have a better claim to the throne than
uh
um
no,
no
not necessarily. No,
no
no.
than the Duke would. Yeah.
Yeah, no, if he was a bastard, the Duke could still, like, in most scenarios in medieval Europe, the Duke would still. Because, like, all the kings of England had bastards. Or all the kings of Europe had
Yeah.
bastards. It was very common. But there's also, like, the matter of, like, okay, the king, someone would just be like, hey, the king chose stupid, so I'm just going to take charge. Like, none of this is smart. Let's be clear
Yeah.
about any of this. None of it's like
But
ideal, but it's what happens, and we're bending over backwards to keep this
but
monarchical system too. So,
anyways, if I was Burt Reynolds in that situation, I'd be looking at any way of finding an out to this situation.
no, it's there's a different version of this movie. We're just like, hey, you're vaguely the right age for this, right? When were you born? Okay. Well, yeah, you just okay. Why don't you save the kingdom? You don't even have to do a lot of work. We'll have people help you out. This will just save us some trouble, because Fallow committing the crime wouldn't necessarily dis disassociate him from being able to become king necessarily. Depends on the
What?
rules. Yeah, no.
So you could just murder your way to the kingdom and like have zero repercussions for murdering your own king.
Depending on where you're talking, yes.
What type of scenario is that okay?
Well, first of all, it's not. Let's be clear.
Okay,
Second of
so
all,
like what you're saying is that like tomorrow if I like if I poisoned the mayor of Estevan tomorrow and just declared myself as the new mayor of Estevan, that's completely and entirely
well, no,
a
mayor's an
valid.
elected position. We've been through this.
It's definitely. Anyways, monarchies are stupid, and I give up with this argument. This movie's dumb.
You could, in theory, marry into the royal family and poison the rest of the royal family, and in theory become king. But
Yeah, but Prince Charles just married, and I feel like that's not really necessarily
actually, you maybe
a
can't
thing
anymore. I
anymore.
feel like that's been knocked over.
Oh,
Because Queen Elizabeth, I suppose he's gone. He's passed away now, but the queen's husband couldn't have become king. So like you'd have
oh.
to. I don't know what the rules would be for.
So wait.
Yeah.
So the actual King of England isn't technically the monarchy, even though he married into the position. Is
No,
what you're
no,
telling me?
no. He's not king of England. Is the thing. They like
Okay.
the queen's husband wasn't the king of England. Because tech. Okay, this is dumb. This is really dumb. But technically, you cannot have the king of England would outrank the queen of England, even if so. You can't have a queen. You can't just have a. You can't marry the queen nowadays and become king of England, because then that would make you in charge of the queen. This is all very dumb, I
Hmm.
grant, but yeah, his title was Prince Consort.
What?
Yeah, he was Prince Consort to the Queen of England.
Sure.
Yeah. Yeah, they can't have a King of England because the King of England would outrank the Queen of England. They've changed that since the Queen Elizabeth I days at some point, I guess. I mean, after you've had three queens do like really, two queens do really good jobs, it's pretty hard to argue that queens can't be in charge. But yeah, it's monarchies are dumb. Yeah, that's a thing that's happened. They've chatted up, and Merrick eventually talks Farmer into staying with the army to go fight, kind of interacting with two of the generals, who are both African American actors. There's three generals in the movie, and two of them are African American. That's kind of interesting, I guess. I don't know what that says about the world necessarily, but there's some interesting things you could do with that. Tall
What?
winds. What's that?
Are you going to explain what you mean by that?
I don't know. They're like, I don't know.
Like, maybe they
It's
worked really hard for their
oh yeah, no,
position. Like, it
absolutely.
doesn't. There's no correlation between the fact that he's African American and that they're generals.
Yeah, no, like Rome had like
Explain.
Rome had African generals, so it's a really like a late. It's like a modern medieval thing where like African people are
But
like,
you are correct. Like, you
and
don't. We didn't see any other African Americans in this.
no, there's some African American extras, I think, but
Was
not
there? Okay,
generally.
maybe I missed
Yeah,
that.
like in the army. So
Okay.
my vague impression, just given on like, is that there's some, I guess you'd call them African cultural minority that's within the recruiting range of the kingdom, and two of them have become, and there's some of them that have become like really high-ranking members of the military, which is normal in certain periods of European history, particularly Rome. There was lots of African, like Roman leaders. Could be something interesting. I don't know. There's really, I don't think we're going to delve into the complicated regional difficult differences of this this dumb fantasy kingdom no one cares about. But yeah, they're going to go fight against Fallow. They have ninjas. The king has ninjas. Just kind of randomly. This is a
I'm just trying to figure out why he assumed this was a good idea.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, speaking of that, Fallow goes up to meet to like stare down with a couple of the generals, and he's just like, "Hey, I'm the true king, so that means you guys work for me now." And then the king wanders up, and he's just like, "No, I'm still here." And then general his human legions defect like immediately, which is kind
Mhm.
of interesting, just to see his plan just collapse right in front of him. I guess he really was banking on the king dying. So yeah, Fallow just has
How many?
the
Sorry,
his
sorry. You
personal
should
guard. Sorry,
probably know the better answer to this. How many people is two legions?
depends on the context. I couldn't tell you. I guess in this context, it would be a legion is commanded by two generals. So I'm thinking that the king seems to have four legions. So I don't know. I have no idea. I would need to know more about this place, because legions can be like wildly, like military, these sort of things can be wildly different given the country.
Ah, okay. No, yeah, that makes more sense. I just thought generally that legions were a specific number of people rather than just.
No, maybe, but I couldn't. It could easily mean something different in this world.
And he took two of them with him.
Yeah, but they immediately defect after seeing the king's alive. So so Fallow just has his personal guard and the Krug and Galleon's familiars. So we get our fight scene, which is sort of good. Like, I can tell what the tactics are. The cinematography is still garbage, but I can tell what's going. I can keep track of what's going on. I give this movie credit. I'd give this movie more credit for not using fire arrows, but they use fire arrows in the next battle scene in the rain,
Oh,
which is worse because that's fire
yeah.
arrows are
How are you
used to.
supposed to light the grass on fire?
Yeah, exactly. You use these things to light grass fires, so they'd make more sense during the first fight, but whatever. So it's a hard fought battle. The king's army eventually wins because they're better equipped and better trained, but the king is shot by an arrow and is mortally wounded. Pharaoh decides to take the rest of his army and march on the castle because the king is almost certainly going to die this time, and he does, so he's better off this time. But he gets captured by the Amazons and also Muriella. And Muriella brings Fallow back to the army, where Fallow gets is challenged by a duel by the General Talwyn, who's kind of had like a rivalry with Fallow. Apparently, they knew each other as kids, so they have a duel as the king is dying. Yeah, so they have a duel, but the king dies halfway through, getting the duel to stop. And Merrick arrives and says that Farmer is king now. So, yeah, Fallow's plan is done.
Which is, in my opinion, is completely and 100% the right way things to do it.
Yeah, no,
I don't even care if Farmer was what's his face's long lost son. Fuck him.
Yeah, the rules are made up. You
Fuck
might as
Fallow.
well cheat.
I mean, why not? I mean, even the like, I guess when you have somebody who's like a proven like mage within this universe, basically, if you own the mage, you own anything at that point, because like, if anybody argues about it, you'd just be like, "Oh, I've seen it in the prophecies," or some weird, vaguely magic shit like that.
This guy's the king. I know because I have magic powers.
Exactly, it makes more sense than half of this movie put together.
And my magic powers are explicitly powered by my loyalty to the king, who is this guy. So if that guy's the real king, I will lose my magic powers. So there you go. And none of you like this guy anyway. You all know he killed the king, so wink wink.
It's like a win-win for everybody at this
Yeah,
point in
exactly.
time.
Yeah, no. Makes more sense. It makes the most sense of anything in this movie. They prepare the army to go march on Kristen
Crystal
Win.
something.
Kristen Win. Kristen Win.
Sure.
Whatever.
Close.
So they prepared a march on that with the Amazons, who are apparently joining the army now because they said no earlier, and it's third act, I guess. This movie isn't very good, to be honest.
Yeah, so why didn't he just marry an Amazon?
Yeah, that could have been a thing, I guess. He's Burt
Like,
Reynolds.
what?
He could have pulled it off.
Yeah, but like, you need an heir, but you also need a political alliance. So you just marry like whoever's closest to your realm, and at that point in time,
Yeah.
it seems to be like this forest that nobody's ever
Yeah,
been
exactly.
into.
Oh yeah, Norik ends up getting killed by revolting because he said some stuff about not wanting to be a slave, and he revolts against getting captured. He's been taken to Crystal Win Keep, so he gets killed. So Farmer has a talk with the king, where the king talks up the monarchy, and like, oh, the king's job is to be very, very smart. Blah blah blah. Your entire kingdom was almost taken over by some drunk idiot. Kiss my ass, Burt Reynolds.
I mean, that's pretty much the explanation of anything at this point in time.
Like, here's the thing: monarchists don't get. Like, you might be able to find the perfect little monarch who's able to be everything perfect that you always want him to be, but he's going to die eventually, and maybe he picks the perfect heir, and maybe that guy picks the perfect heir, but they're not going to be able to do it forever, and we know it because that's how it worked. It's usually immediately after that monarch is a shitty one. It's just how that works.
I'm just hoping that after Queen Elizabeth passed, that they just retire the position.
Yeah, if only. Yeah.
And like the stupidest thing is that they have so much money,
Which is our
for
money,
basically a figurehead.
Yeah. Just okay. Can we just fuck off? This is our money. Get out.
Well, like Buckingham Palace they still live in. Like
Yeah, no.
we could
Get
turn
out
that
and
into like an orphanage.
it's like get out. We don't need you. Be thankful with you're getting off easy, frankly. Don't try to do anything sketchy or we'll have to do things. Get out. So Galleon has taken has like siphoned off Solana from the rest of the prisoners because he knows she's Farmer's wife and has deduced that he's the king's son because that's why he's not able to read him, I guess. And he's going to use her as bait because she's pregnant. That doesn't seem entirely necessary. It seems like you'd rescue your wife either way. Yeah, I wasn't going to rescue my wife, but she's 2 months pregnant, so I better do it. What kind of nonsense would that be?
I don't know whether like I'm kind of like already done with this.
Yeah. So, they prepare a plot to go assassinate Galleon. Merrick goes to distract Galleon by having a wizard duel with him, while Farmer, Muriella, and the lead Amazon woman, make their way to swing across a chasm to get into the keep. They do this in broad daylight while the army fights the Krug at night in the rain.
Yes.
This is this is like something I hate. I guess it's magic, maybe, but I don't. Yeah, the army also uses the fire arrows during this muddy rain fight, so this is dumb. It's dumb because they also use something that makes a lot of sense because they have the high ground and they like drop a bunch of boulders down the hillside, which is a good thing, which is probably a good tactical move.
I have the high ground, Anakin.
Yeah, it's over. We have the high ground and rocks. A farmer swings across the chasm with all by himself pretty well. The Amazon woman does not help. Neither does Muriella. But after Merrick is defeated by Galleon in a wizard duel, Muriella uses her magic powers to go meet up with Merrick and take his remaining power and become official court wizard. At this point, Farmer gets into a confrontation with Galleon, and they fight and they fight. Fucking Muriella tries to help but doesn't do anything. But they manage to get the upper hand when, while he's distracted, Solana stabs Galleon in the back, which is, I think, something I really like because that makes sense. That gives her agency in this situation to a certain degree. And I'll give this movie this: it doesn't relegate her to a pure damsel in distress. I guess she could have been in the movie more, but I think she does like what you'd expect of her in this situation. She's not like entirely idle. Not a perfect damsel, but well, somewhat okay ridden one. Some points.
Yeah.
Could have been done worse. It has been done worse by a lot of people. And this allows them to get the upper hand, and Galleon is killed, and that's pretty well the end of the movie. The magic in this fight was actually pretty silly. It's kind of like, what if a stage magician had real magic powers pretty well, with the exception of their little mist teleport thing, which is a fine thing to do, I think. That's an okay magic system, I guess. Can be kind of neat.
Uh, Not really.
Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, the what's his face was apparently controlling like a whole army.
Yeah, and after Galleon is dead, the Crag fuck off. And that's the end of the movie pretty well. We don't see anything afterwards, at least on the hour 27-minute cut. I'm not really watching the longer one. I'm not that interested. I don't think the movie gets better. Just on a
No.
gamble.
And for somebody who watched this movie for like 2 hours and 42 minutes, or was supposed to watch this movie for like 2 hours and 42 minutes, I can tell you it didn't.
Yeah, no. So, yeah, anything else you want to say about it?
I think we're pretty much ready to go to scores at this point.
Yeah, what do you give the score? What do you movie score?
Probably about a 2 out of 10.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, you're more online with the critics.
It has enough Jason Statham fighting in it that's somewhat interesting enough to like. It doesn't make up for like the glaring plot holes, but it makes up for some things.
Of the movies that exist that star Jason Statham, where the climax cannot decide what time of day it takes place in, it is not the worst Jason Statham movie that has that thing happen in it that I have seen. Hobbs and Shaw also did this thing.
Sure.
Yeah, Hobbs and Shaw also did this thing where like it couldn't decide what time of day its climax took place in. Because that movie, the climax starts at like night and then takes place during the middle of the day and then ends in a dark, rainy cavern thing.
What?
Yeah, no, it's dumb. It's a bad movie.
It's a dark rainy cavern thing though.
Yeah.
How does that correlate between time of day and what?
Because it like the fight scene starts in like pitch black night and then ends up happening during the day and then moves into like broad daylight and then the ending just seems like it's really really dark instead of it doesn't seem like we're getting a lot of natural lighting. Like it's not an enclosed space. It's not a
So you're telling me
it's a chasm more than a
climax
cavern.
lasted for 25 hours?
Yeah, something like that. Apparently.
12 hours at the most?
Oh yeah, 12 hours easy.
Okay.
Doesn't make any sense. That movie's worse than this one. I'm giving this a 6.
Why?
I kind of like it. Like obviously it's not good.
Okay, so no, justify that.
Like I enjoy some of it. I think like obviously the cinematography can eat shit and the acting needs to be like a good bit better, but I kind of like some of it. It's not entirely garbage all the time.
To me, a lot of these people just called it in,
Oh yeah.
justifiably.
Yeah.
Like, if I was Jason Statham, I would have took this to the bank and ran with it.
Yep.
Because I mean, like, what's there to do at this point? Like, the script is what it's gonna be. I don't know what Jason Statham was in at this point in time.
I feel like he's somewhat established at this point.
I'm actually not too sure about that, but
this has got to be post Crank at least.
Transporter.
Oh yeah, this is just barely post Crank.
The Italian Job, but yeah, but like the Transporter series is where he started out, right?
Yeah, I suppose.
Like that was like his big rise to prominence. Were those two movies?
Oh yeah, Transporters 2002.
Yeah.
God, there's 5
and just
of those.
Post Crank.
Yeah, this is Crank is 2006. This is 2007.
Okay, so it was yeah, but right before Death Race.
Yeah, Death Race is good. I like Death Race.
And like a few years off from The Mechanic, 2 years off.
Yeah, I kind of like some of the
For
things.
For some reason, I think we just went through. We just literally went through the hierarchy of like Jason Statham's filmography.
Yeah, Crank's kind of good. Crank and Death Race and Transporter, those are probably good.
I also liked him in Spy.
Is that the Melissa McCarthy one?
Yes.
Yeah, that's good. I like that movie. I saw that with Mom. That was nice.
Okay. I guess Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels sounds weirdly familiar, but
this is definitely. I'd say this is mid-tier Jason Statham.
In my opinion, this is really low-tier Jason Statham.
I suppose in terms of performance, but like in terms of like the movies, though, I just hated Hobbs and Shaw.
Yeah, but I've never seen a single like a single Fast and Furious, so I definitely haven't seen late Fast and Furious, like because he didn't come in until the sixth one or whatever.
Yeah, he's 6 or 7.
Yeah,
7. He's 7.
6.
No, 6 is
okay. Well, maybe yeah.
He's the villain in 6 is his brother.
Okay, so he's done cameos in 6 then.
Yeah, no. Oh, yeah. He was the end credits in 6. That's how that worked. Yeah, the end credit of 6 was him killing Han.
Also, I also weirdly liked him. Once again, I really weirdly liked him in the movie Homefront, where he's like an like a person put into witness protection as like a some case or rather, but he just goes into like small town America and he's just beating up meth heads, and then he like breaks up like a meth front, and it's James Franco.
Of course, it's James Franco. I should have known. I think Jason Statham should star in a movie with Adam Driver, and they can make a movie about how they both killed Han Solos.
Wait, what?
Yeah, the guy that Jason Statham kills in the Fast and the Furious, his name is Han Seoul, like the Korean city, and Han Solo.
Oh,
Yeah, they both killed Han Solo, so they should be
was
in that.
was that the guy in Tokyo Drift then?
Yes, yes. Han is the main is one of the leads in Tokyo Drift. He's not the lead actor.
Okay.
The lead in that is some guy with a bad Texas accent. Honestly, it's one of the it's mid-tier Fast and Furious Tokyo Drift. People give it a shit, but I think it's a mid-tier Fast and Furious. The bad ones are probably 2, 6, and Hobbs and Shaw. I'd say the other ones are at least somewhat okay. I don't remember 7. I don't
Sure.
think is all that great either. I don't mind 8. 8's all right, if predictable, but it's all right.
Okay, but if you want to talk about predictable movies, this was like the most predictable movie I've ever seen.
Yeah, fair.
Like they showed Jason Statham and his wife in bed, and they're having like a cutesy moment together in like the first 5 minutes, and I'm like, oh, this bitch is rather gonna die in like the next 10 minutes, or she's gonna get kidnapped.
I will give the movie kudos on not killing her though.
I mean,
They could have easily went that route, but,
yeah, but like,
they didn't.
I am not going to give them any props for not killing somebody.
I am. I mean, I'm only
Like,
giving it
honestly, it would have.
I am giving it the bare minimum positive score.
No, you're not. You're giving it well above the bare minimum positive score.
No, 5 is like totally neutral to me. 6 means I had fun.
Okay, but like, once again, I didn't watch it, so dodged a bullet.
So next week we're watching Machete,
Sure.
the Spy Kids spinoff.
I'm really weirdly looking forward to this because I think we've talked about this on the podcast before, where we're like, how in the actual fuck is this a tie-in?
Yeah, because the reason we're doing it is because it was part of a pair of pitches that was with Hobo and a shotgun, that we did in season 1, I believe, or
It's
2.
even worse. This isn't answering any of my questions.
I think the director's also kind of a cool guy. I don't know, he's good. I kind of enjoyed the Spy Kids movies. We'll talk about that next week.
Yeah.
See you guys next week. Make sure to check us out on the YouTube. Thanks again to Audra Ballion for making the art. It's very nice. But yeah, season 1 is currently getting uploaded. I am doing 3 to 4 episodes a week of that, besides getting the regular episodes up day and day. I am just getting other stuff figured out. But yeah, see you guys next week. Bye.